Most of my videos up till now have been focused on religious fundamentalism and pseudoscience. In the case of young Earth creationists, I'd say that both apply. On one level, it's easy to poke holes in the arguments of Ray Comfort and Eric Hovind, but I'd argue that it's necessary to publicly oppose such nonsense. False beliefs can lead to bad decision-making. So if I can steer anyone away from false beliefs and towards a more accurate understanding of this world, then I feel like I will have achieved something positive. I'd like to turn my attention towards some of the more intelligent believers. This will probably jar with some of my atheist friends, but bear with me. I consider myself of average intelligence, and concede that many theists are more intelligent than I am. So for the purposes of this video, I will call believers who reject young Earth creationism intelligent. Just as a side note, I think Ken Ham is more intelligent than Ray Comfort, even though they're both young Earth creationists. Anyhow, I'd like to address a few things Dinesh D'Souza said in a debate with Hitchens, Dennett and Sam Harris a few years ago. Keep in mind that I have limited spare time and cannot address the whole debate. For those who wish to see the whole thing, I'll leave a link in the description below. Take it away, Dinesh.
Here we are, flung into the world, and three of the most important questions we can ask is, why is there a universe? Why are we here? Where are we going? Now, in trying to answer these three fundamental questions, which are in a sense the orienting point of our life, we turn to science. And science's answer to these three questions are, don't have a clue, don't have a clue, and don't have a clue.
One of the things which a lot of believers don't seem to like is when people admit to not knowing something. I think it's more honest to admit that than to latch on to a religious teaching which bears all the hallmarks of human authorship.
Science, in a sense, is as ignorant of these questions as it was since the time of the Babylonians. Why? Perhaps it could be argued that the scientists don't know how to look for answers. Perhaps it is the case that the answers lie outside the province of science. But if we are looking to science to answer these questions, we are proving ourselves by experience to be idiots. Science hasn't given us anything, and it shows no prospect of giving us anything in the future.
Refuting this claim could result in a whole video series by itself, but I want to concentrate more on something he's going to say in a couple of minutes. Suffice to say, I don't think that science is anywhere near as uninformed as Dinesh is making out here.
So now we can resort to promissory science, what I call the atheism of the gaps. We got no answers, but we're very humble people. We are ignorant, but at least we know we are ignorant. Therefore, trust us.
I think it's worth pointing out that the conclusions scientists report are tentative, and anyone who has the time and inclination can verify them for themselves. It's a lot easier now than it used to be, thanks to the internet, and usually free. I'm not so sure the claims of the religious can be verified in the same way. I can't help noticing that whereas science is an internally consistent body of knowledge with a self-correcting methodology, religions argue bitterly with each other, often on how to interpret the same book.
I think religion has something a little better to say to the world than that. The argument against religion is that it keeps updating itself. It keeps adding stuff. Religion is, in a sense, judged by its, you might say, oldest proponents. Look what they said in the 7th century. Now, interestingly, what the atheists are doing is applying a double standard. Science is judged by its latest, smartest, most advanced representatives. Religion is judged by its oldest, least knowledgeable adherents. In other words, we don't judge science by the arguments of Democritus or Thales. We judge it by the arguments of, say, Stephen Hawking.
This assessment of Dinesh's seems somewhat at odds with the sheer number of religious advocates who insist on sticking like glue to the earliest scriptures. According to Christianity, God used to have two-way conversations with prophets, but for some reason this doesn't seem to have happened for nearly 2 millennia. In this modern, technologically advanced era, would it not be a good time for Yahweh or Jesus to make an appearance?
But if science can progress, why can't religion?
That's a very good question. I would like to see a lot more believers taking a critical look at what they believe and why.
Why can't religious knowledge or moral understanding also grow? So I think this idea that religion is frozen is a fallacy.
I agree insofar as it doesn't apply to all believers. But, like I already mentioned, there are a multitude of religious people who hold on to conflicting and contradictory beliefs.
The majority of people in the world believe in God, believe in immortality. And here we have three of our most eminent atheists here to tell us why we're wrong. What arguments have they given us that command even a modicum of assent? None. All they have given us is condescension, sarcasm, intellectual superiority. Not a single argument that the 99% of people in this world who hope for a better life and believe in God are wrong to do so.
I apologize for not having the time to include more of this debate, but I think Hitchens, Harris and Dennett did make a good case for why a lot of the religious claims don't stand up to scrutiny. The fact that the majority of humans on this planet are theists has no bearing on the truth value of that belief. You could argue that religion is useful, but I and many of my fellow skeptics are more interested in finding out if any of it is true or not.
Now their argument really comes down to this. The absence of evidence is evidence of absence. In other words, if we don't know about something, we should believe it doesn't exist. I want to suggest why this is actually an unscientific and very foolish way to think.
I would like to point out to the good people watching this video that Dinesh is setting up a straw man here.
We can sort of see it by stepping outside the debate and applying it to some other issue. Let's consider a simple question that's a very relevant question today. Is there life on other planets? And the answer is, we're not sure. We don't know. Along comes the atheist who says the absence of evidence is evidence of absence. We have not found life on other planets, so there's no evidence. Therefore, there is no life on other planets.
Hold your horses, Dinesh. Most atheists I know don't make the claim that no gods exist. We say we don't believe gods exist. This is an important difference, often overlooked by believers.
Is this an intelligent position? No, it is stupid and premature. Why? Because we may not know how to look.
So, he just set up a straw man and knocked it down. Most freethinkers, skeptics and atheists don't think that way. If we don't know something, we will happily admit it.
It may be that there is. So the fact that there is no evidence is evidence of nothing. It may be evidence of the poverty of our imagination, the ineffectiveness of our instruments. The bottom line of it ultimately is, when we look at the evidence, we find the religious believers are right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And to finish off that section, he confused his belief with knowledge. I hope that the believers watching this will take note and avoid making such fallacious arguments in their videos and in the comment sections. Before I go, I'll include the first part of Hitchens' response to what you've just heard from Dinesh.
Honestly, Dinesh, what complete piffle you're allowing yourself today. Scientists will tell you in advance of what it would take to disprove their belief.